Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis. It is June 17th, and Xur is in Watcher's Grave. Also, a quick FYI, we did have Tom Farnsworth of Bungie, creative lead on Seasonal Haunted, on the Last Word podcast last night. So if you haven't watched that, it's right here on the channel. Go check it out. Awesome interview with him at the beginning of the show. So let's check out Xur now. For your weapon, you've got Crimson. Easiest thing I can tell you is buy this thing. For a hand cannon, it's very good. The Catalyst actually makes it even better. I think it actually maxes out the range, if not nearly. And then kills with this weapon heal the wielder. Precision kills also refill the magazine. In PvP, the range on this thing is about as good as you can ask for on a hand cannon. It's very powerful. It's got heavy grip for stability. You've got accurized rounds, small bore. Just a very extremely good weapon. If you don't own Crimson for any reason, buy it. It's definitely worth owning. For the hunters, we've got Gemini Jester. Perk here is misdirection, dodging disorients nearby enemies, and temporarily removes their radar. If you've ever had your radar just like drop away, it's probably that. Stats here are 65, and not bad, but not perfect, because this is more of a PvP exotic, and where resilience, you probably do need some, so you don't get too tapped by certain hand cannons. Generally, resilience is not that beneficial in PvP. 18 mobility, if you masterwork it, it would be up to 20. Total of 65 isn't bad. You got discipline, you got strength, both in double digits. The one that just hurts me is recovery. Recovery, very important in PvP. If the resilience 14 was where recovery is, then we'd be like, must buy. Decent, almost all the way there, but again, mostly a PvP exotic. Want to see recovery on this one. Mobility still very good though. All right, for the Titans, we've got the Aeon Safe. You probably should own a pair of these, just if nothing else. Now, granted, this isn't the best pair with the 61 stat roll. It does have 19 in recovery, which isn't bad for health regen. Little low on the resilience for a Titan, especially in a PvE situation. So it's not one that I would say you must like buy this because it's an amazing roll. It's mostly you probably should own a pair of these just because at some point if you get into high level content, somebody's asking if you have your Aeon, exotic for this class. You probably want to be able to pull it out just to be able to know that you've got it. You've got the Sect of Force, Sect of Vigor, Sect of Insight, different things getting you ammo drops and stuff like that. It's not a bad thing to own. They're just much better stat rolls that you could probably get for a Titan on this one. The high recovery is not bad, but again, lacking resilience and a little high in intellect, that type of thing. Could be better, but if you don't own a pair of these, chunk a pair in the vault. For the Warlocks, we've got the Vesper of Radius, and this is going to be related to your Rifts. Rifts release an arc shockwave when cast. Rift energy recharges faster when you are surrounded by enemies. Now, you have Classy Restoration as a really cool mod now. If you cast your Rift and you get an arc shockwave of enemies that are around you, I don't know how potently powerful that is. I don't expect it to be amazing, but I will say you do have 18 intellect, not bad if you're trying to keep your super up. Low discipline, I think, does kind of hurt a Warlock. I'd rather actually see the intellect up in discipline, so you lean more into your abilities. Recovery at 16, though, pretty good for a Warlock. Some resilience is actually helping if you can stack it high enough. Low mobility, my preference on a Warlock as well. So not a bad roll in the high recovery department, but a 61, low discipline, not the best roll. But if you don't have this exotic, you want to mess around with it, you've got decent shards, it's worth picking up, experimenting, kind of one of those that you want to see if you want to farm for a better stat roll for. Because Rift energy recharges faster when you're surrounded, and then you cast that Rift and you get that arc shockwave of enemies around you, and then now with Classy Restoration, you're getting that healing going. You got some possible synergy there, but again, it's a preference of what your build is like. Is this better than other exotics? And also the stat roll, kind of mediocre. For Hawkmoon, we've got Snapshot Sights. I don't know if this is like the god roll. I'm pretty sure there are better ones. You do have Hammerforge for range. You've got Textured Grip for a little stability, but you're handling increased stability down. I think there are better perks than Snapshot Sights, so I wouldn't waste all your currencies on this one. Now, for Dead Man's Tale, you've got Fitted Stock, giving you stability, a little recoil, a little less handling, but you have 4th times the charm. This is going to allow you in a PvE setting, if you're using a scout rifle for anything there, to really unload some bullets. Chaining precision hits grants bonus damage and quickens reload speed as well, so that's not as much of an issue. Light mag giving you a boost range. Now, full bore is going to boost range, but take away some stability. Might make those precision shots a little harder to hit, depending on if you're on mouse and keyboard or controller. I know 4th times the charm has some very good potency for PvE, but I don't know if this is going to take away some stability for certain players and input methods. So comment below, let me know, is this Dead Man's Tale with 4th times the charm worth the purchase in the currencies, or do you guys think there's better ones out there? All right, for the legendary weapons, it's a whole bunch of weird combinations and perks. You've got Zen Moment, multi-kill clip, Subsistence and multi-kill clip, which is counterintuitive. Pulse monitor and Vorpal on this thing is not great. You've got Thresh on a sniper rifle, auto-loading, but ambitious, also sitting here on Code Dwello. Then you've got threat detector and quick draw. Just nothing really optimal per se. You do have a sidearm that has feeding frenzy and sympathetic arsenal. Theoretically, those do work together. You got some range, but you have an accuracy masterwork. I think this popped up last week while it was gone at GCX. If this is like a thing that can actually make a difference on a sidearm, maybe. You do have some range. This could be better, but accuracy masterwork on a sidearm seems to be unique. Like, this isn't something you normally could get, so maybe that's something new that they're implementing. So maybe you buy this and tuck it away in the vault and see if it's good. I don't think it's going to be god tier just because that's sitting there mostly. So overall, the legendary weapons, nothing really too fantastic, just a weird masterwork on that sidearm. For the Titan armor, you've got a 60 here with high resilience, high strength. Okay. You got a 60 here with really high mobility. Skip that one. And low resilience on top of that. 57, a 63. Again, this is one of those where it's like, yes, it's well-rounded stats. So you're not going to be hitting those like triple 100s or anything if you're going for that one. But you got 10, 10, 12, 17, a little low intellect, low strength, but you got decent amount of recovery, discipline, resilience, mobility, so you can move. I would move some of these stats around. 63 is probably not like a must buy or anything on this, just because it's somewhat even and not all in the greatest of places. All right, for the Warlock, there's only one real one to look at, and it's the helm. A 61 with 2 recovery, not so great. 57 total, 57 total. You have a 66, but unfortunately, you have a 7 in recovery. You're a little high in mobility in my preference. People would probably also say you're a little high in resilience, as Warlock is the preferred stat. This is one of those times where you have a 66, but it's like, it's not spiked in the right places. It's not really high, even like double digits in recovery, which is the most important for a Warlock. So even though it is a 66, it's just not the greatest 66, if that makes sense, hopefully. All right, for the Hunters, you got the most eye-catching ones for sure. You got a 57, but big spikes. Probably can skip that because it's all resilience. You've got a 61, meh. You've got a 63 with, again, really high resilience. So if that's your kind of build you're looking for to try and get your resilience up to the big numbers of like, you know, tier 8, 9, or 10, you might save this one for sure. But this one, you've got a 30 in mobility and discipline, intellect, and strength all get a little decent amount. Now, it is lacking in recovery, but with Class C Restoration, 30 in mobility, this is kind of one of those rare moments, at least this season. Buy this piece of armor because that much mobility just spec'd really high. This you should probably own. You can mess around with some of your other stats on different pieces of armor, but if you put a mod on this, you'll be at 40, which is kind of insane. So, Hunters, this is definitely one worth buying. And that pretty much wraps it up. You got an exotic everybody should own. Kind of mid-tier with regards to the exotic armor. Neither of the exotic weapons, I think, are blowing anything away. And then Hunters are the only one who really have a good piece of armor. So that's pretty much all I got. I will be streaming and playing some this weekend, so make sure you check me out, twitch.tv/Ebontis. You can say hey on Twitter if you want to. Again, if you guys didn't catch the episode of Last Word, we had a Bungie dev on there, so check that one out. It's on the channel right now. Other than that, if you guys are new to the channel, you enjoyed the video, drop a like below, leave a comment if I missed talking about something that I should have. Other than that, if you guys are new, please hit that subscribe button. I got plenty of guides coming to you guys. I have one on Monday for how anybody can literally solo the new dungeon duality, so I'm trying to do that with like lowest common denominator loadouts. And if you guys are YouTube members or Patreon subs, thank you for the extra support. I'll see you soon.